Greetings, all! Today, we'll be examining the rare Water-type Pokemon Dondozo, the Big Catfish Pokémon, and the uncommon Dragon Water-type Pokemon Tatsugiri, the Mimicry Pokémon. While they might be seen as quirky beasts on their own, Dondozo and Tatsugiri are fascinating fish that can prove to be a hell of a combination together when played intelligently.
Dondozo have massive blue bodies and gills, with a bright white underbelly, as well as white edges to the dorsal, anal, and tail fins, featuring a white upper lip, a fleshy crown of white fins on their forehead, and a pair of thin white whiskers behind their black eyes. In addition to having white chin whiskers, these beasts are further noted for their massive mouth and bright blue tongue, with a penchant for using them to swallow prey whole. Tatsugiri have the bodies of small fish, with a two-pronged tail, wavy dorsal and straight pectoral fins, black eyes, and a large white throat sac that they can inflate to make them look larger or deceased. They are also noted to come in three distinct forms depending on their colors, with curly form having an orange patterned body and curved body, drooping form having a reddish pink body and white pectoral and dorsal fins with a body that slightly droops at both ends, and stretchy form having a yellow body with a straight body form.
Dondozo are noteworthy amongst other fish Pokemon for their massive size, as they are so large that humans barely have any chance of actually catching them with a fishing rod of any sort, in turn requiring them to go out into the waters they occupy if they want to be confronted directly.
With their massive size, these creatures prey on Pokemon like Basculin that are otherwise too vicious for many other Pokemon to go near, and they achieve this simply by swallowing them whole, thus negating the general threat they pose at the onset. While this might give them plenty of food options to dine on, Dondozo are a bit on the dim-witted side and can be easy to fool or outsmart, with most of their body space being taken up by their body and digestive tract. Their gluttonous habits can get them into trouble when they don't have a clear game plan, and while they have strong physical attributes and a massive amount of stamina to work with, they can still be overwhelmed and taken out with enough strikes, so they often have to acquire help from other sources in order to get the meals they need in order to properly acquire the massive amounts of food they need to sustain themselves. Despite this, these beasts can be an imposing force when put in the right situations, and can take a great deal of punishment, so they can still be worth investing in if one can find a workaround to the otherwise limited intelligence, an issue that's especially reflected in their abilities, as while those that have greater water retention in their scales and inner flesh can have access to Water Veil as a hidden ability, most specimens are quite unintelligent in multiple ways, explaining then why they have access to unaware and oblivious as possible base abilities. As far as the stats are concerned, these beasts really aren't all that fast moving and have limited special power on the side, but as noted before, they do have plenty of physical strength and resilience and an immense amount of stamina at their disposal, their base HP, attack, and defense stats being above average for a fully evolved water-type Pokemon, so you'd best be avoiding these beasts if you can't use strong special attacks to take them out quickly.
While they may indeed be dragon types to the fullest extent of their powers, Tatsugiri are otherwise relatively weak creatures that do not get along the way of serious offensive power as they grow and develop.
Although they do have impressive special power and decent mobility on their side, they're usually seen as prey more than predators, as their bodies are unable to take in much in the way of direct harm, and at the most, the best they can do is puff up their throat sac in order to make them look a little bit larger, or at the very least try and play dead, remaining as still as they possibly can in the hopes that their predator will just skip over them and keep right on going. Interestingly enough though, this same tactic is also how they manage to get any prey on their own at all, hoping the weak scavengers will come to them before they unleash a potent blast of water or draconic energy from their mouths to strike them down and make short work of them. This also has an effect on their appearances, as there are three different types of Tatsugiri, known as their curly, droopy, and stretchy forms, and these terms are mainly used to describe how their bodies react when they play dead, and in turn the types of prey that are available for them to dine on, since it makes more sense for them to specialize in hunting specific prey in the vicinity to make the most of their limited offensive capabilities. As a whole though, despite their forms, these creatures are incredibly cunning and intelligent, and will gladly make meals out of any bird Pokemon that comes their way, and in turn make them far more dangerous to handle in the wild than one might initially believe. This is especially the case when paired with the Dondozo with the signature Commander ability, though some specimens can also use the draconic powers to attract water to themselves like a vortex, further possessing access to Storm Drain as a hidden ability. As far as their stats are concerned though, the overall weakness of these beasts on their own is quite apparent, as they have limited stamina and are only decently fast and resistant to special offense, but they sure as heck can at least deal some damage with a few special attacks they get naturally, their base special defense and speed stats being above average for fully evolved water-type Pokemon, and the base special attack stat being above average for fully evolved dragon and water-type Pokemon, hoping to lend some credence to their potential threat.
Thankfully for trainers that wish to use these two fish to the fullest, Dondozo have found a perfect hunting partner in the form of Tatsugiri within their native waters.
While both of these creatures are severely lacking in some attribute or another, together they make up for each other's weaknesses, not just in terms of stats but also intelligence, as Tatsugiri are much more intelligent than their fishy friends, leaving the two to often work together in order to satisfy the needs of both parties. And this comes right down to Tatsugiri and the signature Commander ability. In the wild, these two work together by letting Tatsugiri play dead to attract a potential prey item, before Dondozo leap out of the water from beneath its surface and attack the prey, swallowing it whole while their partner then climbs inside and has its feel of the meal as it slowly is digested by the powerful enzymes that Dondozo have in their mouths, repeating this tactic until both parties are satisfied with their meals. In battle, if these two are used in a double battle together with the Tatsugiri that has access to their Commander ability, they will actually hop inside the mouths of the Dondozo and use them as a shield, not only making these small fish immune to damage and impossible to readily target, but also providing benefits to their partner, as the power of the Draconic energy gives the Dondozo partner a boost in power, raising all of the stats aside from HP to a critical degree, or about twice as much as normal. This also works into Dondozo's signature Order Up attack, and they will gain a stat boost every time they use it in this state, with the stat boosted depending on what type of Tatsugiri is currently hanging out in their mouth. Together, these two make for a potent pair and should be approached with great caution and power if they need to be fought like this, as they can easily overwhelm most opponents when the two work together like clockwork. Whether or not you are a fan of Pokemon, needing a partner of some sort in order to really make the most of their abilities, there is no doubt that Dondozo and Tatsugiri really work well together when they've got a little help in a fight. Dondozo are a lot like Moose, to be honest. Big, dumb, and dangerous, and in turn, they can be problematic to deal with in the wild if they have to be confronted head-on. Their slow movement speeds and limited special attributes definitely hold them back, but they can still swallow most anything whole with their enormous mouths and bodies, provided they aren't easily tricked into attacking something else. Tatsugiri, on the other hand, seem really weak and defenseless at first glance, and really can't handle physical fights well, but the very limited array of offensive attacks they can learn is still complemented by a surprisingly high base special attack stat that is not to be scoffed at. Moreover, their capacity to play dead or otherwise disguise themselves really makes them a far harsher threat than many realize, as their intelligence and deceit can get them the meals they need to survive. Still, brawn and brains together with these two ultimately makes the most successful fighter in the end, and while you might have to play it safe for them to get them both out on the field at once, the resulting combination can make them a hell of a terrifying duo to handle in practice.
With one half of this fishy duo being massive and brutish, and the other sharp and tactful, it can be said that both Dondozo and Tatsugiri bring plenty to the table that can be made use of with the right strategies. You might have to work with their shortcomings in order to bring the best out of them, but at the very least they can both defend themselves enough to keep everything running smoothly on their end in battle.
Just do yourself a favor and make sure you keep an eye on them if you ever spot one, but not the other. Chances are their partner isn't that far away, and you might be right where they want you to be for a sneak attack you may not get out of without being swallowed whole.
Thank you all for watching this video. It always brings me great joy to see others enjoying the work I do to try and make the world of Pokemon and the fascinating creatures that lay inside of it feel as real as they possibly can. If you really enjoy my work, please feel free to leave a comment and subscribe, as I always do my best to respond to any and all comments that are left on my videos. In addition, if you wish to learn more about my work and help support it, you can find links to my Patreon page, as well as email and other contact information to my work on DeviantArt in the video description down below. Furthermore, you can find a link to my Discord server there as well if you'd like to get a first glimpse at what videos are coming up next and converse with other fans of the world of Pokemon. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, and have a wonderful rest of your day.